I have never met anyone in my life with either the boy or the girl name.
Me neither. How crazy is that?
It's wild.
That's weird of us to pick a name of no one that we've ever met.
Welcome to Life Unleashed,
The podcast all about creating the best life for you and your furry best friend.
If you're a dog mom on the go, juggling life, work, and the endless joys of being a dog parent, then you're in the right place. I'm Dani.
And I'm Nick.
And together with the incredible dog mom community from Tails Up Pup, we're here to share advice, stories, and the obsession we have over the love for our dogs.
Get ready to laugh, learn, and lean on each other because life with your dog just got even more awesome.
I thought it would be fun to share our current obsessions, things that we are loving, and just have a fun chit-chatty podcast instead of a more structured one.
Okay, I'm here for the chit-chat.
I feel like we haven't really done one like this. The most similar one was like the hot takes, which was really fun.
Okay.
And one of my current obsessions, this actually wasn't on my list. I told Nick to write down 5 things, so...
I wonder what current, because we don't know each other's current obsessions. I don't know what you wrote and you don't know what I wrote. I wonder if like I'm going to be able to get any of yours versus...
I bet we said something of the same, but one of my current obsessions that is not on my list is the What's the Point podcast because I love Kristen Johns, and they did this as a topic. So
Ooh, okay.
That's where the idea came from, and I thought it'd be fun for us to do it. So yeah, if you're looking for another podcast, Kristen, I just feel like it's just a good person. She's so fun to listen to, and she's who I aspire to be like. So yeah.
You don't normally listen to that many podcasts, so it's cool that you're listening. I didn't even know that you were listening. I know you have listened to her podcast, but I didn't know you're currently listening to it.
It's hard to find new podcasts to listen to. I don't know why. I feel like on Apple Podcasts it's hard to like search and find something because I was looking for like labor inspiration and like godly podcasts, and I feel like I still haven't found anything.
The problem is that there's too many to choose from. I think there's so much, and like a podcast is kind of a commitment to get into. Like you're like, I'm about to have to spend 20-30 minutes up to an hour plus to listen to this podcast to see if I like it.
Some of them you listen to is like 5 hours.
The ones I listen to? Yeah, but I already know that I like that.
But most of the podcasts that I listen to are like business related. So yeah, Kristen's is like the only one I listen to that's life.
Okay, Dani, what is your current first obsession?
My first one is going on walks.
Going on walks. So why is that? I guess that's been more of a recent thing with pregnancies.
Well,
why?
I mean, we've always been into hiking and those type of walks, but now we enjoy walking around our new neighborhood. And I feel like at first we were like exploring, getting the lay of the land. And now, yeah, with pregnancy, I feel like it's something that keeps me going. First of all, I'm motivated because everyone that I know who went on walks on a regular basis had a better labor, and they feel like their body was more equipped by moving. And also I read that if you are sitting on the couch, your baby's also sitting on the couch, and it doesn't motivate them to like move into position. And so I know we're still a little bit far out, but we will want the baby to be moving into the right position. It's already head down, so that's great. Hopefully it stays that way.
I guess the big thing for like the walks is like we used to go on them, but like now during pregnancy, it is like every single week you're doing at least one walk. Yeah. And so you're consistent with it.
And we've learned to go earlier in the morning or later at night because usually we would like to go at lunchtime and take a break in the day, but right now it's too hot to do that.
It is, sorry. It's going to be 95.
It's wild.
Coming up soon.
And we don't have a pool to jump into after. So, okay, what's yours?
Okay, my first current obsession that I wrote down is bike riding. I'm getting into bike riding right now, and the reason that I've chosen to do that is I go through like a lot of phases with my working out, and I think it's good because like you do something and then you end up getting bored with it and you change it up. And so I'd been doing a lot of weightlifting, and now I'm saying, all right, I'm going to do more cardio, particularly bike riding. I feel like running, I'm 30, running is like hard on the knees. I can't like, running is not, I can run some, but it's not where it's like going to be my consistent daily thing. So right now I'm riding the bike every day.
If you didn't know, Nick was in a car accident a long time ago and his leg has never been the same. So biking is much better for his leg than running.
Yeah, back in the day, broke my femur. I have a metal rod in my femur, and that definitely creates some issues when I go running. Speaking of Kristen Johns, she actually broke her femur too.
Which was wild. She was in a very similar accident to you, but she was on a bike.
Yeah, she was hit by a car on a bike. Yeah.
And you were in a car.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But that's all to say that I always encourage Nick to ride the bike rather than run, because I know running isn't great for him, even though he has this love for running. So biking is good for him.
It's crazy that you can have like an injury that, that happened when I was 16 years old. And I'm 30 now. So literally almost 15 years later, an injury still, affecting my life and things like that. It shows, a bad injury can, be lifelong.
And you are into riding the stationary bike, a Peloton at the moment, not riding on the roads or going to a park or anything.
I would like to do like riding on the roads and riding outside. That's more fun, but it's more time consuming, and like riding on the roads is dangerous.
Yeah, I would say you'd have to go to like a bike trail or a park or something.
Yeah, so it's kind of nice. I can just go out to the garage and jump on the Peloton.
Yeah, and your bike needs new tires, so
Yep.
Peloton is convenient right now. But he doesn't ride the classes. He just does his own thing, which I would never do.
Yeah, we got rid of the subscription. We just weren't using it enough.
But maybe once baby's here, we might get it back, because it might be easy to like go do a quick workout rather than have to like go somewhere.
Yeah.
My current obsession right now, you're not going to know this one.
Okay.
Meghan Trainor's new album.
What?
She released a new album. She's so upbeat, fun, like it just gets you in a good mood. So,
okay.
And she has been so fun on TikTok.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how I fell in love with like who she is as a person. I already always liked her music. I think that probably the like worst feedback that she gets is that her music sounds the same, but like that's the point of having a specific style. And like when someone hears that song, they know it's you. I like it.
It's like, that's the point. It's supposed to sound the same. So you're actually complimenting me.
Yeah. Yep. So I think she's really fun. Did you know she married the guy from Spy Kids?
Really?
Yep. That's who she's
like
with.
Isn't he much older?
No, I don't think so.
Huh.
I think they're similar.
Okay.
And they have a kid and he's so cute.
Wow. Yeah. I did not know.
Okay, what's your next one?
Currently, I am very into reading the Bible at night. And so that's, how long have I been doing that? Probably since we moved in, really. Pretty I've gone through like phases in life where I'll, for a month I'll read the Bible, but I've like pretty consistently been reading at least one chapter in the Bible every night for quite a while now.
I would say faith as a whole is your current obsession, because we started going to church again. For a while, we were just watching it on TV.
Yeah, we want to, go put our butts in the seats and actually be there and be part of that community. We've always been very good. We're a part of a small group. We've been very good about, going to small group and hanging out in that setting, but actually attending church service, we've been spotty at best.
And something that we're starting this week is a new type of like Bible study, would you call it? It is called NMCU, which is our church's university, where we are going to learn the ins and outs of the Bible, and we're starting in course 101. So we are doing that as well. So I feel like that's why I would say faith as a whole.
Yeah, that one I was going to say like reading the Bible, and then I was going to talk about NMCU too. Like, so that's kind of like a new little of a obsession that I'm excited to dive more into.
I think it really stemmed from like us talking about what values we want to instill in our kid. And we were like, well, we got to set an example.
Yeah, it was really funny. Like when it's just us, it can be very easy to come up with an excuse and be like, oh, we're really busy, or we got something going on and blah, blah, blah. This is why we, had to miss church this week. But when you're trying to set an example for a kid, you're like, you know what? I want our family to be the family and have our kid raised in a family that goes to church, that actually physically goes to church. And so to do that, it's like, well, we better start going. We got to lead by example. So that's
for me,
part of that. I
feel like saying that what's important to me is like a family that goes to church isn't like really what I want in the long, like that's not the actual goal, because I grew up in a family that went to church and it didn't mean anything. Like
right.
To my parents, it was, we go to church, we can say we go to church and like check off the list kind of thing.
Yeah, I think to me, that's kind of like the worst thing. And I did feel that way at certain times growing up, like where we only go just, to do it, I guess. And it like but that's a little bit hard, because when you're a kid, sometimes you're like, well, I don't really want to go, sit still for an hour. You know?
It's more about how your parents are like I feel like my parents are like, oh yeah, we go to church, we can say we go to church, but like did they truly know the ins and outs of the Bible and like what they were believing in?
Right. We want to be a family that like faith is, number one.
That's the core.
Right.
Not going to church.
Right.
Just
And part of that is going to church. We think that's a very important piece of it. But there's a lot more that goes into it than that. But yeah, I agree with you.
My next current obsession is biker shorts.
Biker shorts? You were just telling me that you hated biker shorts.
Well, okay, here's the thing. I know that they've been on trend for a long time and they're kind of like phasing out. But for me, my thighs have gotten much wider from this pregnancy. And so if I wear something like a dress, it's so uncomfortable because my thighs just stick together. So, and now it's too hot. I don't really enjoy being in pants. Plus, I only have like 2 leggings that fit anymore. I just feel like the biker shorts are so comfortable. And right now I'm wearing like the pregnancy ones. So they like come up high. Like these ones are just so comfortable. So that's why I'm obsessed with them. I don't like the way that they look. I feel like I'm just not.
Oh, is that what you were saying? Yeah, you're like,
I'm not trendy. I'm not cute. Like wearing biker shorts doesn't look good on me.
Stop it, Danielle. You look good.
I'm just being honest. Wearing biker shorts does not look that good on me, but it's so comfortable and we're just in our house most of the time. So
we can agree to disagree on that.
Yeah. Also, I was talking about this on Instagram stories like a few weeks ago, and everyone was like, wear the biker shorts under the dress. So that also has been life-changing.
Very smart. That's
yes,
clever.
But wearing a traditional bra, like I cannot do it for more than 2 hours. I did get a new one and it still just is so uncomfortable. So wearing a sports bra is where it's at. And most of them you can see a dress. So like it doesn't work with a dress. So I can suffer through church and then I run home and change out of it. But that's about the only time I'll wear a normal bra now.
Pregnancy is a rough thing. I'm very, very glad that I don't have to go through that. I think men would not do well.
My tatas have grown more than my stomach, I feel like.
No.
But it is what it is. And everyone's like, it's going to get worse because like there's no milk in there right now. So
isn't that crazy?
Yeah, it's wild. I don't know how.
How is that even possible?
I don't know. I'm not looking forward to it. But I will say this is totally, I'm going on a lot of tangents, but I feel like my weight gain was so much in the first part and now it's like evened out. And I saw someone else talking about this and I was like, I feel like I relate to that. Now my stomach is getting bigger because the baby's getting bigger, but I feel like in the first like 20 weeks, I gained 20 pounds and there was like nothing to even show for it. So that's why I was like, whoa, where's all this weight coming from? But now I feel like it has evened out more.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, it's interesting. But it is what it is. And they're like, the average weight people gain is 30 pounds. And I'm like, yeah, I'm definitely over that. But
you're taller than the normal
It is
girl.
what it is. I'm just eating what I got to eat, doing what I got to do, and moving with my body.
You're doing fantastic.
Doing the things I got to do. Okay, next.
Okay, a current obsession of mine that could also be on Danielle's list is smoothies.
Oh, I did not put that, actually.
You didn't put that. Okay, so recently Danielle got some good smoothie recipes, mainly because she wants to start eating more dates. It's scientifically proven that I believe in the last 4 weeks of your pregnancy that if you eat 6 dates a day, you have a easier labor comes on faster, more people have labor come on naturally, a bunch of good benefits from doing that. But
it's mostly softening your cervix. That's what's proven.
Right, but a softer cervix helps with those things that I mentioned.
And eating 6, sorry, but I gotta say eating 6 dates a day sounds like a terrible thing to me. I've never eaten a date. And so I'm like, how would I consume 6 a day for that long? So
yes, which brings me to why Danielle started doing the smoothies. And when Danielle starts doing something like that, I'm like, ooh, that actually looks really good. I'm not putting all those dates in there and she's not even doing it yet. But I'm like, you know what? A smoothie sounds delicious. So she was coming up with some smoothie recipes and putting some protein powder in there. And so I've been really enjoying some smoothies now that it's getting hotter. And it's just, it's a nice way to get some extra protein in too.
The first smoothie we were loving was actually a berry one that had nothing to do with dates. And we were using Greek yogurt for the protein and berries. And that one's still super delicious. But yeah, I was looking into how am I going to end up consuming all these dates? And so I was like, well, I've never even had a date to my knowledge. So I was like, maybe I need to ease into it and have like 1 a day or 2 a day and make sure it's not going to make me, have things come out the other end. So,
yeah, you don't want it to like upset your stomach when you go from not having any dates to having 6 a day. That could be a big shock to your system.
yeah. And so far it has been a great little journey of learning how to love dates. And we do like oat milk, which we never had in our house before, but we've been liking oat milk. That's another thing.
Yeah.
Current obsession, oat milk.
I don't know if it's an obsession, but it's not bad.
And you're okay. Well, mine wasn't smoothies. Mine was watermelon.
Oh yeah. I feel like you've gone through different fruit phases in the pregnancy.
It's so weird.
You had a mango phase.
I was really in the mango, the strawberries, the blackberries, but now it's watermelon, and watermelon is so good. I always love watermelon though. The mangoes was weird. Like
Danielle single-handedly goes through one giant watermelon, like a full one, every single week.
It's so good. It's crispy. It's sweet. It's juicy. It's watery.
Hydrating.
All the good things. You know what I'm going to make soon? That mocktail that I made last year with the watermelon.
Oh, yeah.
I've been thinking about that. I'm like, maybe this weekend I'll do that. Because that just sounds so refreshing. But I forget what I need. I got to go back and watch my Mocks on the Rocks. Go back to my mocktail page. When I started that, I knew I wasn't going to have enough time to do it. But it was fun while it lasted.
So my current obsession, another exercise related obsession, I am training for a long hike this summer, hopefully right before a few weeks before baby's going to be due. I don't want to cut it too close.
You do know that time is ticking.
I know. I'm going in July.
Okay.
I'm planning to do a long hike in the Appalachian Mountains in North Georgia this July, so I'm getting back to training for that. Last year and even the year before, I've had a hiking trip every summer, and so this year I'm like, we don't want to go out somewhere far, but I do still want to have something to train for, and so that's what I'm currently training for. Every weekend I'm trying to do some type of
6
hike.
weeks.
Yeah, it's coming up.
You better train.
I've been training.
Have you?
Yeah.
Is the biking helping?
Of course.
Okay.
The biking helps. I mean, a lot of the exercises that I'm doing out there are like building endurance, leg strength, and then I'm doing my hike once a week.
That'll be fun for you guys.
And when I've been hiking with Danielle and doing walks with her, I've been carrying a 35-pound weight vest, so that also has been helping.
Yeah, because I was like, you don't understand what it's like to be me right now. So he's like, well, I can do one thing to try to see. And he's been wearing his weight vest, so that's good for him. It's not quite the same, but it'll do enough.
It's definitely not the same. Way easier to wear a weight vest.
Yeah, because it's not affecting your lungs. Like, there's literally something squishing me inside right now.
Yeah.
And I'm just larger.
And
like, your weight vest is flat.
And your cardiac resting output is like 30% higher just naturally.
And it's not hurting your tailbone.
Yeah.
All the things.
It's way easier to carry a weight vest than to be pregnant,
At
for
least
sure.
You're well aware.
I'm well aware.
I think I have one more. Do I? Oh, I know.
What is it?
TV show. Nick and I are currently obsessed with the CrossFit Games and CrossFit in general. Nick and I never watch TV together because we don't agree at all.
Well, we don't watch TV very much to begin with.
And then we never agree, and we end up just saying, well, let's just not, because I like girly, happy, funny things, and he likes boring history, lame things.
That's not true at all. Honestly, you really have a very narrow thing of what you like: children's things and a few girly funny things. I like pretty much every other genre out there.
Okay, anyways, we found that we always agree on sporty things or fitness things in general. So, like, we enjoy watching the rock climbing ones and that kind of stuff. And we came upon the CrossFit Games and we watched one. And there's like a documentary for each year. And so we've been really enjoying that. And it's so crazy what these people can do with their body.
Yeah, it seems very intense, but it's cool to watch. I mean,
it doesn't make me ever want to do what they're doing. could see us doing CrossFit, but never like aspiring to be the best. Like that's too intense for me.
I really did look into doing CrossFit back when we lived at our other house. There was a CrossFit gym nearby, but it's expensive.
All gyms are expensive though.
Yeah, but it was like $260, I think, a month. That's quite a bit.
Yeah, I don't know. But that has been really fun. It's on Amazon Prime if you are interested in watching it.
The CrossFit Games. Yeah, it is definitely cool to see. Those athletes are legit.
Do you have one more? Did you share?
I have one more. So my last current obsession, you guys, if you know me, I'm a big reader. But recently, I've been really getting into the psychology and like parenting books. And so I've always liked psychology books, but like now I feel like I'm reading them through like a lens of a soon-to-be parent. And so that's been like a fun thing that I've been doing.
Current obsession. Learning to parent.
I just feel like there's a lot of things that like it's not one of those things that you have any experience in, or at least I definitely don't. Like it's not like I had like a sibling that was way younger than me, or even like
babysitting.
Yeah, I didn't babysit or anything like that. So I feel like we all have like our intuition as parents, and I think that's very important. But some of the stuff, it's like I'd kind of like to read and just know the different philosophies out there, how kids mature. I mean, there's certain things that like, this is a very good, easy example, but like certain times kids' brains aren't developed and simply cannot do stuff. So like if you tried to potty train too early, like your kid literally doesn't have control of their bladder. Mm-hmm. And so like if you're like, oh, I wanted to get a jump on this, it's like, well, you're going to be wasting your time, for instance. So it's just nice to learn. That's a silly example, but there's a bunch of other stuff like that.
What is like the most interesting thing that you've learned, or like something that you've learned that you want to implement that like maybe you didn't think about before reading?
Well, your kids, even at a very, very early age, are very emotionally intelligent, and you should really take into consideration like their emotions. So as an example, if you're in understanding like actions and the emotions behind the actions, so just say that you have like a 2-year-old that's throwing a big tantrum or something like that. It's very easy to be like, try to de-escalate it. And then I think a lot of parents even go to the standpoint of like either trying to bribe them to stop it or punishing them to stop it. But what this book talks about is there's probably some other emotions behind, obviously a tantrum is like a big, emotional outburst. And one of the things that it says is kids really at that younger age, they cannot physically control their emotions. Similar to how they can't control their bladder, they don't know how to handle all those emotions coming forward. And so as a parent, your job is to try to figure out what's behind those emotions and to kind of help them work through that. So that's kind of an interesting thing that I learned recently.
That is interesting.
But I think with books and stuff, there's book knowledge and then there's actual practical application. And I'm not reading any of these books as like a manual for kids. I kind of just want to like, see all the different approaches that are out there. And, I think that knowledge will help when you find yourself in a situation. You're like, okay, I see. Maybe my natural inclination would be like, I want to just stop the tantrum. So, maybe you give them a reward or you say you'll be in timeout. I'm not saying that would be my natural inclination, but I think that is good to know some different approaches and that can help you. And every kid is so different that what might work for one kid doesn't work for another one. And if you've, done some reading or talked to other parents and figured out different methods, that might work for a different kid.
I feel like you and I have been spending our time learning about different things, and then we talk about it, and then we educate each other. And then if we like choose to continue that, like if you were like, oh, I don't agree, like we would go and do our own research too. So like you're learning more about the parenting and like how we're going to do those things. And I'm learning more about the labor and then
first things first, got to have the baby.
Yeah. So, my plan is to have an unmedicated birth. So that has been a lot of educating and just learning what that's going to look like and how I am going to deal with the pain and the pros and cons to all of our options and kind of like our perfect situation. And then when things arise, what will we choose to do then? And that's where I have been educating myself. So the Built to Birth course and Bridget on YouTube, I feel like has been very helpful in educating, learning, doing exercises. It's crazy. Like you can start now to start prepping your mind and body. And it sounds a little crunchy. I never thought I was crunchy, but I guess I'm a little crunchy.
I'm very proud of all the effort that you've been putting into that. It's definitely not easy to do when you're pregnant and you don't have energy and you're having to work and do all this stuff. But like Danielle, even very early on in the pregnancy, was being very conscious about like, okay, I want to, do my stretches, do my strengthening. Now she's really working on breathing work and all this stuff. And it's like you don't know what thing is going to make the big difference for you, but you feel a lot more mentally prepared going into something as hard as labor when you've done all this prep work.
Knowledge is power.
Another thing, and I'm surprised that this wasn't the first thing that came to mind with my reading, the big obsession that this is a little extra for you guys. A big obsession that I've been having, particularly with kids, is super anti-screen time.
Oh yeah, he is. And everyone who Nick talks to is like, just wait, because once you have kids, you need help.
Yeah, but so we also got an anti of that. We have some friends in our church group, and and this was without me bringing it up at all. They said that unprovoked by me, they just got rid of screen time or severely limited screen time for their 2 kids, and they have seen a massive, massive difference within like the first 2 days of doing that. Less tantrums, better family time, all these better attention and focus, more creativity. And that is, a really cool thing to see when, it's not like I even brought it up. So there are parents out there that are looking and saying, why, is my kid's behavior a certain way? And they're maybe thinking that the screens have something to do with it. And this is a very good anecdotal evidence of taking the screens away and having a very positive benefit.
I do think most people resort to screens early on because most situations is someone going to work and someone staying home. Now more than ever, I feel like men do get some time of paternity leave, but even still, most men have to go back to work and most women stay home and take care of their newborn. And so if the mom needs to eat and cook something, needs to shower, needs to, just have relief for a little bit, the screen is the easiest babysitter to rely on. So I think it makes sense why most people start.
It does make sense, but
you can go.
But I don't think people know the detriments of it. They don't know how damaging it is.
Even if they do, they still don't have another option because you can't leave your kid unattended and they're going to be screaming their head off. And if you just need to go do something for 10, 20, 30 minutes, that's your best option in that moment.
Yeah, I mean, and I'm a believer, again, with all this stuff, that this is more,
What I was going to say is that because we have a unique situation, it seems a little bit more realistic that it could happen because we're both in the house. So even though we're going to be working and living and parenting all at the same time here, if I have to shower, you're physically going to be here to give me a break for a little bit and vice versa, where in a lot of people's situations, the man's not even physically there to help. So I think that we do have a shot at it because we both physically are here and can help each other.
And what I was going to say is I'm a big believer that when you're a parent, sometimes you got to do what you got to do. And there's no bad or wrong thing necessarily to do, obviously within reason. But if you have to give your, kid a screen or whatever to, make it through a work call or to get a shower, then, maybe that's what you have to do. But people grew up without screens for a long time, and women and men still had to shower and do things.
Yeah, but it was different because the screen wasn't there.
Right.
The screen is there now.
It is there, and it is definitely something that
everywhere.
That people have to fight against.
Screens are everywhere.
It does seem like the worst time for screen time is 0 to 3. I think it seems to get, kids their brains are better developed the older they get. But yeah, there's some crazy research out there that shows how bad it can be for kids. I mean, it's bad for adults too. I mean, there's plenty of adults out there that are in teenagers as well that are spending, countless hours on their screens, and that's probably not a healthy thing either. So it's not just kids.
You know what doesn't have screens?
A lot of things.
Legos.
Yep. Legos don't have screens. The outdoors don't have screens.
Walking.
Lots of things don't have screens.
Yeah. I was looking at the bookshelves and Legos. That'll be fun.
One thing, too, that the books talk about is we feel like kids, it's the worst thing in the world these days if they're bored. And for all of human history before screens, kids had lots of opportunities where they had to be bored because they were tired of playing with the few different toys that they had or whatever it might be. And yeah, they have to learn to be creative and to deal with boredom. That's part of life.
And in our perfect world, we would like to have our kids close together. And so then they'll have a playmate.
They will have a playmate. And they'll come into the world with Holly and Gracie. They can terrorize them.
Yeah. That's not a current obsession. That's an always obsession. But the dogs, of course.
Oh, that goes without saying.
If you haven't seen our nursery, it turned out so cute, featuring Holly and Grace.
Danielle is already preparing for Gracie's 6th birthday party with a mermaid theme.
She's having a mermaid party at the pool. She's going to be so happy. Cannonball, for sure.
Definitely.
She's going to be 6 years old. Holly already just turned 6. It's crazy that our child will be born and our first babies will be 6. 6-year age gap.
Time is flying. It is unbelievable.
It's cool that they'll grow up together, though.
Yeah, it is. Well, you think about our dogs, and like I think about my childhood dog and how old she was when my parents had me, and it's like I have so many good memories of her.
Yeah, it's so cool. I feel like I had dogs growing up, but like you have you had one dog that was there for a while.
Yeah.
I feel like I didn't have that. So it's cool that our little babies will be that for our human baby.
I very much hope so.
Yeah, our other obsession is every day I ask Nick, I'm like, is it a boy or girl? And figuring out the baby's name. But I feel like we have officially narrowed it down to one boy and one girl name.
We feel pretty strongly on that. But, Danielle, I mean, I am too this way. I feel like when we get to the hospital and the baby is born,
we could change our mind.
You could change it.
We are aware. That's why we're not like saying that this will be the name or this will be the name, because we are very aware that we could see the baby and be like, no, this isn't it. Let's reevaluate and come up with a different name. And we have a long list of names that I like. Just Nick doesn't like them all.
When do you have to officially give the baby a name? Like when you leave the hospital?
Yeah, I think you turn in the certificate when you're leaving the hospital. And in some places you can mail it later, but I'm pretty sure, we're leaving the hospital not with an unnamed child. So yeah, we're going to decide.
No, I know that we would, but I was wondering, when do you officially have to decide?
Yeah, I don't think I'll make it longer than 24 hours just calling it.
Baby.
Or baby. No, it needs a name. So
Yeah.
we will have a name. We have two that we like. I actually just embroidered the newborn gowns, one blue and one pink. So those are the names that we think we're choosing. But if not, then I'll just have to make another one. But I think the most shocking thing for myself is that, okay, I was not one of those girls who had a list of baby names my whole life and was like, I'm naming my kid this. I don't know why. I feel like just my preferences always change. So I've always had names I liked and didn't like, but they just change over time. But one thing about myself is that I always thought I would choose a traditional name, something like William or James. And now that we've chosen, we did not choose a very traditional name like that. And my other thing is I always thought we would choose a family name, which the middle names are family names, but the first names are not. But the names mean something to us, and I think that's what's important. I just didn't think that was going to be what I chose, but now it's so, these names really feel like they fit us so well.
Yeah, it is weird to think that, there's a lot of names that we like, but we don't feel like fit us and for our kid.
Yeah.
So there's one thing to like a name for somebody else, but then to like it for your own kid. That doesn't mean that you don't like it. It doesn't seem like it would fit for your name, for your kid's name.
In some of the Instagram lives, we would ask for some name input, and a name that a lot of y'all said you liked was Anna Grace. And I think that's really cute. And it honors our dog Grace, but Anna doesn't mean anything to us, and it's just a name. And I think the name Anna Grace is really pretty, but it just doesn't feel like my kid's name because it doesn't mean anything to me.
Yeah, I think, naming is really hard.
It's so hard, but I feel like the ones we picked just feel so us. They feel special. They do have a tribute to family with the middle name
And heritage.
and heritage, and I just feel like they're the best ones for us.
You getting excited?
Yeah. And we like the nicknames, and I just feel like it'll be fun. I have never met anyone in my life with either the boy or the girl name.
Me neither. How crazy is
It's
that?
wild.
That's weird of us to pick a name of no one that we've ever met.
I know one person who also has named their kid the boy name, but I've never met them. So, yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
And one thing, my opposite of current obsession, my one current, what's the opposite of obsession?
You don't like it at all?
I don't like it at all, is that, so the girl name came from a tails up pupper. I don't know.
Tupper.
It's actually one of our brand reps who suggested the name. I hope that she suggested it so that we could use it and not for herself, because that's really awkward. I told her we're probably going to use it though, and she was excited. So it was a name. What was the point of my story?
Something that you're not obsessed with?
Oh yeah. Okay. So
Pregnancy brain.
well, then I started feeling bad for if I stole her name, but I don't think we did. But this influencer recently posted what name she likes, and she's pregnant and she's due before us, and it's spelled differently, but this name was on her list. I've never heard this name in my whole life. I just never heard of it. Someone tells us, oh, you might like this name, and now this influencer also is thinking about it.
Get out of town.
I'm not here to be I want to have the most unique name and I don't want anyone to ever have this name. But the fact that we got here and now someone who is an influencer might name their kid that and just spell it differently, still I'm what the heck? What are the odds?
We're lucky that no one it would be really awkward if we had gotten this far and then we with one of our friends or whatever was they're having a baby or something and they said, this is what we're going to name our baby. And we're like, oh my gosh, that's literally what we were going to name our baby. What the heck? That would be crazy.
So that did happen with my best friend when we moved here. I made a best friend and we both said the girl name that we would choose, which was Charlotte. And we both picked it, and she was pregnant. She's already had 3 kids now, and I haven't. And she did have a girl, and she also didn't choose Charlotte, but it was just so awkward in that moment where we were oh, who's actually going to use it? But we still love the name Charlotte, but it is so popular that I feel that kind of pushed us away. Do you like Charlotte?
I do.
But I don't like Charlie as a nickname. I think that also kind of pushed me away from it.
I don't mind Charlie.
Yeah. It could be Charlotte. That could be our backup.
Charlotte.
And my step grandma's name is Charlotte, so family name. But we are currently not hanging on to Charlotte. And yeah, that's just crazy. It's about the influencer thing. So yeah. Oh, but I will say that Nick and I have different preferences on the girl nickname.
Yeah,
But that doesn't bother me because you could call her one thing, I could call her one thing, other people could call her one thing, or people could call her by her full name.
Yeah, there's lots of options.
There's lots of options. And I feel as much as you pick and you're this is what it's going to be, life happens and you could end up calling them potato. Great. How does Grace's nickname Raisin? You would have never guessed that.
We're not going to name our kid Potato.
I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that nicknames come from random things.
They definitely can.
So you can't really predict it.
But you know what? Parents have really the only kind of trump card. My parents call me Nicholas, and really only them and Danny call me that.
They mostly call you Nick.
My dad calls me Nicholas, I feel the most of the time.
Yeah.
I feel
I hear Nick.
Okay.
I hear both.
Well, as parents, you can kind of call your kid more of what you want, where they wouldn't allow a friend or wouldn't want that to happen. But you can kind of call your kid what you want.
I also am a firm believer that if you are going to call your kid by a nickname or the middle name, that you should just name them that. If you were, yeah, I can't come up with an example.
What if our kid ends up going by their middle name?
If they end up going by that, then that's fine. But if we were naming them a first name and a middle name, and they were coming out and we were calling them by their middle name. Like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Can you have say you have 2 girls. Could your first girl's middle name be the first name of your second girl?
Everyone can message me your opinion on this, because that's Nick's current dilemma, is that the name he really likes is the name that we're compromising and making the middle name. And so I told him, if you had a second girl in the future and you wished you could use it for the first name then you should not use it as the middle name now. But you also don't know if you're going to have a second girl. So then will you be sad that you never used the name?
Yeah, and I know it's tough. I don't see why using the middle name for your first girl and the first name for the second would be a problem.
I don't think in the grand scheme, like, it's that big of a deal, but it just seems so weird to me.
Yeah,
like, come up with a new name. There's so many names in the world. Your 2 kids don't need to share the same name.
But you like those.
Yeah,
I like them.
You do. I feel like you could come up with something different.
Well,
you also don't know if this is a girl's.
Could be a boy. Then it's going to be
Then your dilemma is vetoed.
It's going to be tough. What if we have 2 boys?
Then you have to come up with a second boy name.
We know we have a good one.
You do?
Yeah, we do.
Oh. It might not go. It has to be the same vibe. I think your backup one is a traditional name, isn't it?
Yes, but it has the same vibe.
Okay.
It does.
The vibe is Nick's preferences.
Yeah. My vibe.
You can't pick a name that you never met anyone who's had that name and then pick a name that's like the number 2 top boy name of all time.
Why?
That's just different vibes.
Okay.
Well, we'll see. If we have 2 boys and no girl, that'll be wild. I don't picture that as my future, but you never know what your future holds.
Yeah, Danielle has been so outspoken about, like, I can't have boys, that I feel like it's going to be a boy because of that. You're probably going to get stuck with 7 boys.
I feel like I'm a girl mom, but who knows? We'll see. I feel like when other people hear that, they're like, well, you're so outdoorsy and like you enjoy doing these things, and like boys also do that. So I don't know. We'll see. Only time will tell. Less than 2 months. Isn't that wild?
Yeah.
Oh, I have one more. This is a hot take. Can I go, or am I being cut off?
You can go.
Okay. Hot take. People's first instinct when we say that we're waiting to find out the gender
is rage.
It is rage, but everyone always says, oh my gosh, I could never because I'm a planner. That is by far the number one thing people say. And it does not make sense to me at all. I, too, am a planner. If you haven't noticed, we bought a crib at 8 weeks. We decorated the nursery halfway through. Like, we planned out our entire pregnancy. Like, we are planners. Naming your child or, like, knowing the gender doesn't have to do with planning at all. And there's many...
Some people say for the nursery.
Okay, but there's a lot of things you could do with a nursery. First of all, the baby doesn't even use the nursery for a while. So you could do the nursery later, which was our plan. But then other things happened and we ended up decorating the nursery. But you could not use a nursery for a year if you wanted. Like, you have time to decorate it when the baby's here. So that doesn't make sense. Second of all, there is so much that happens in pregnancy that you cannot plan for, that knowing the gender of your baby does not matter when these other things that matter way more, you can't plan anyways. For example, the day that your child will be born. I feel like not being able to plan my life and know really in a 4-week span when the baby will come, which is an entire month. Like, they could come at 37 weeks. They could come at 42 weeks. Like, there's no telling. That is way more crazy to me and way harder to plan your life than knowing the gender of the baby.
Yeah, and then a lot of these so-called planners are very contradictory, and like they'll wait till literally the last minute to do like anything, like all these projects around their house, the nursery, all the stuff. They're like, I'm a planner. It's like, if you were a planner, you would have been doing that when you were 20 weeks or something versus waiting till you're 38 weeks and you're scrambling to get your nursery done.
I'm glad we didn't find out. I think it's so special and I'm excited. The 2 things that I feel like are affecting us the most are possibly not feeling as connected to the baby by like calling it him or her or by the name. But overall, I felt that way more in the beginning than I do now, especially now that I have a bump. I'm just like, okay, there's a baby. It's moving. Like, it's great. Number 2, we don't have that many clothes. But
We
I
still
think
have plenty.
we have plenty, but really we only have newborn clothes, which they won't wear that long. So we know that we're going to have to go shopping, but I would just prefer that anyways. I'm sure once the baby's here, whether you have a whole closet or not, parents enjoy going shopping for their kids. So now we didn't just waste a lot of money. We'll just get a little bit of things once the baby's here. So those are the two biggest things.
I think it's going to be like the birth experience will be very unique, not knowing.
Yeah.
We you know, a lot of people have the gender reveal, and that's a fun day. And
We
I feel
are having a gender reveal.
no, I know
In the hospital.
Yeah, people have that, and then they have their birth. For us, all that's happening on the same day.
Have you been practicing?
It's
It's
you boy was on your lips just there.
blah.
No, you wanted to say boy.
Oh, maybe my gut thinks
little-
boy.
Maybe the boy was telling you. The baby said, "I'm
Maybe
a boy."
the girl was tricking us.
Doubtful. Anyways, this was very fun.
This is fun. Only a few more weeks till we find out. Your final guess right now is boy.
Yeah, I'm leaning boy. But I've been leaning boy slightly the entire time. I will be so happy if it's a girl too. And I'm not super strong boy. I'd say like 60% boy.
So you won't be like shocked if it's a girl.
No, I'm not like, I feel like you at least.
I think I will be shocked if it's a boy.
Yeah, you this entire pregnancy have been like, it's a girl.
No, in the beginning I thought it was a boy. But once I converted.
Never really.
Yes, I did.
Barely.
But then when I converted over, now I feel like at this point I would be pretty shocked if it's a boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's why it's probably going to be a boy because you just don't think that it's going to be. And then you're going to be, I'm like mostly in the middle.
If I don't have good mother's intuition, then that is going to be crazy. Then
You know,
what do I do?
I feel like that's a selection bias. The people that say about the mother's intuition and knowing that, they're all the ones that got it right. But you didn't never hear about the ones, no one's going to be like, oh yeah, I thought it was this and that was totally wrong. You don't hear as many of those stories.
It's kicking me right now. It knows we're talking about it.
It says, I'm a boy.
Thank you guys so much for listening, watching. I hope that y'all enjoyed. Maybe you found something that you want to obsess over like us, or maybe we already have some common interests. This was fun. I feel like I like chatty ones like this.
Yeah, they're fun. If you like it and you're watching, leave us a comment on YouTube.
Or give us a 5-star review.
That's nice too.
Bye.
Bye.